Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. For anybody who's new here, my name is Caesar. I'm an aspiring photographer, and today I'm going to be talking about one of my absolutely favorite focal lengths for beginners and anybody who's a casual shooter, the 24mm. So what makes the 24mm so special? Why not a 50mm? Why not a 35? Those are more popular focal lengths. Well, stick around for the video, and then we're going to be going over what makes it so great, and by the end of the video it might just be your go-to focal length. Whether you're just picking up a camera for the first time or you're just somebody that's a run and gun shooter and kind of do a little bit more iPhone style shooting, smartphone shooting, this little lens has a lot to offer you. So let's start off with the versatility. The 24mm is actually very versatile. So the 24mm focal length, it's going to give you a wide perspective while not being too distorted. I'm actually shooting this video on a 24mm. I know a lot of people like to go wider for 16mm or even 14mm, but that does give you a bit of distortion where you start seeing the corners of the image, rounding up and start being a little bit more distortive. Although you can fix this in post, I'd prefer to keep my editing for a video as simple as possible, or even for a photograph as simple as possible. The 24mm is going to give you a broad field to shoot in. It's going to be perfect for anything like landscapes, architecture, or even group photos in tight scenarios where you may be indoors or at a party that may not give you a lot of room to back up and shoot. And because it's wide, you don't have to worry about your composition too much at first. That's not to say you shouldn't practice your composition, but as a beginner, it's going to be a lot more friendly for you because you're going to be able to capture most of the scene. And for the most part, you'll capture something interesting going on in your image with this wide field of view. Speaking of composition, wide-angle lenses like your 24mm are going to allow you to get closer to your subject, which is a great habit for beginners to start. It makes you feel more immersed in your project and give you a more dynamic shot. You're not just snapping from a distance and see what you capture. You're up close and you may see the details in something that you may not have seen with a longer focal length. And getting close helps you think about the foreground, the background, without feeling too overwhelmed. And here's something you may not realize. 24mm is actually the same focal length that the main camera on your iPhone is. So for anybody who wants to jump from shooting on an iPhone to a dedicated camera, the transition is going to be a lot more seamless with the 24mm. Crazy, right? It's a field of view that most of us have already been shooting in and may not have realized it, so we've grown accustomed to it and it feels a lot more natural in our hand. It's gonna already feel familiar, but you're gonna take that extra step up on a dedicated camera to have control on your depth of field, your image quality, and some creative settings. Another thing I like about the 24mm is that it's super forgiving. Like I mentioned before, as a beginner, you're going to be able to capture something in the frame that's interesting, so it's going to help you with your composition. Once you start developing those skills in terms of composition, you may be able to go for a longer focal length, and when you go out shooting, you're going to know exactly what you're supposed to capture. But like I mentioned, for beginners, it's a lot more forgiving because you're going to be able to capture a broader range in your image. Then, in post, you could go ahead and crop into a more interesting scene. Additionally, as a beginner, you're going to have a lot of motion blur, and some people when they're shooting handheld have shaky hands, so it's going to be a lot more forgiving with motion blur compared to a tighter lens like an 85mm. Any slight movement may cause the motion blur to look much more dramatic in a longer focal length, whereas in a 24mm it's going to be far enough that you're not really going to notice the motion blur too much, and you've got a deeper depth of field. And now for my casual shooters. Although you do have the option to go with a, let's say, more traditional 24 to 70 zoom lens, if you're trying to keep your camera setup more compact, more portable, and easy to move around without having to lug around a zoom lens, the 24mm prime lenses are usually lighter and smaller. This 24mm lens that I'm using is part of Sony's compact line, which is incredibly small, very lightweight, and very portable. So this is going to be catered more to the casual shooters who don't want to carry around a big old setup. It'll be easily thrown into your bag without you noticing a lot of extra weight, or you're just going to keep it on your camera as it may become one of your favorite lenses. And here's where the 24mm really gets interesting. Again, it's a great storytelling lens because whether you're in a tight area, like I mentioned, in a party, or in a bustling street, or in a quiet park, you're going to be able to capture the entire scene, go to post, crop into something that was interesting in that, or if the entire image was interesting, like in a bustling street, you're going to be able to capture much more of the action going on. So, if you're new to photography or just want something simple and fun to shoot on, I could not recommend the 24mm enough. It's wide, it's easy, and it helps you practice with your composition without fiddling with your gear. Let me know in the comments if you guys have tried to shoot with a 24mm in the past, or are currently shooting with a 24mm. Or is there another focal length that you guys swear by? I'd love to hear what gear you guys are using. And if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Additionally, I did start a new Instagram. If you guys want to see some of my work and future work, I will be posting it on there. I do have a couple of photos already posted on there. So I'm just getting that started. If you guys were to follow me on Instagram, it would be a great help to myself, especially just beginning this journey. Thank you very much for everybody watching this video. I appreciate you guys from the bottom of my heart, and I hope you guys stick around for the next video. You guys have a great one.